like service. You want to, be somebody that the other party will value. What are you bringing on board? So like Joshua was saying, work on yourself. Know what your weaknesses are and know what your strengths are. If you identify your weaknesses, try to work on those weaknesses so that you can be. If you are a disorganized person, there are certain jobs that you can't take. You are disorganized. Well, my mother told me never to try and be a doctor because he realized I was very careless. He said, I will open up a patient and forget to put his entrails back and sew him up.
Entrails meaning?
The intestines and things like that. You see, so you would have to know yourself. Man, know thyself. Because if you are technically competent, you know yourself. If you are technically incompetent, because there are people who have worked for me. Some are, just average thinkers, but they have the right attitude.
Yeah.
And just for their attitude alone, you want to work with that person and help. Because some of the hard skills, you can train the person to acquire them. But the soft skills, the respect of others, teamwork, organization, these are things which may be inborn or which may have been acquired informally over a long period of time and which may become very helpful on the job. So once you know what you can do, what your skills are and what your likes and dislikes are, you can identify the right organization and intern with them and hopefully get hired.
Yeah, but I think I'll piggyback off something you said, which I don't think we've answered. I think you talked about wages and you asked about wages. So I think the questions you also wanted to ask, which we kind of haven't answered yet, is how people just join companies to try and make more money. How does a person make more money in the public sector versus private sector? What's the game?
No, so there are some organizations when you are entering, know that the salary is poor. The salary is poor. People make money in other unconventional ways. If you have the desire to work in those places, find out from those who are there how they make extra money from the work that they do. Let me give you an example. You may be somebody who likes serving people. You love to serve, and you may want to be a nurse. The nurse's salary may not be good, but if you are a good nurse, I can tell you sometimes, the tips that you get alone can support your family, and you can, actually improve your skills to even pivot to other companies. You can hold a job for as long as you earn enough. And if you don't get promoted to the top, but you continue doing your work, you may get opportunities elsewhere. You don't always end up working in the area that you trained for. Sometimes you pivot to other, and you carry the attitude and the skills that you have from your previous job to other organizations.
Okay, I understand a bit about tips, but referring to your example earlier about this person who was working in a public sector organization who was turning down tips because per his ethical values, I am being paid to offer you service, and so don't tip me. I've already been paid to be kind to you, more or less. And you have professional bodies coming up with their own code of ethics. And tips won't it be seen as bribery? And per certain ethical codes, there's a thin line between what is acceptable and what is just, the person is just trying to honor you, per what our culture would allow. Would you say that, yes, accept the tips or don't accept it because you are bound by certain ethical codes of practice? And this is in question with the fact that for a lot of us, we have come to accept between Ghana and Nigeria that public sector, in as much as they tell you this is the fee, prepare tipping or bribery money. So in that context, versus somebody who is working in the public sector isn't earning so well, should they really expect to survive on tips to make up for the
so
let me help so that you don't, because you are going to set a trap for him if you're not careful. So let me say this to help make it easier for you. He has spoken about those who are willing to accept tips and have no issues with their ethical standards or whatever. So I'll say it's a case by case, it depends on the position and the person's own intent.
I also want
so he has spoken about those who take tips. So now what I'll say is that speak on those who don't want to take tips.
Okay.
So that you don't get to whether it's a good thing or not to take tips.
There's another group of people who make their money in worse ways than taking tips, where they disappear files. And then when you come and pay tips, we can find the files for you. They appear to be very busy on the job. They are creating a need for their special ability to do things for people.
They're entrepreneurs.
They are entrepreneurs within the organization.
In this case,
Entrepreneurs. You see, so you find that somebody is working in a place where his salary may be about the 2,500 a month you are talking about. But if you see the type of house the person has built, you ask yourself,
the cars they drive,
the sort of cars they drive,
able to finance all those things.
And you see, if it was in the private sector, the boss will be asking, if he finds out that you are driving such a car, that you have such a house, he will want to find out whether you make the money from his company or not. But in the public sector, it's like everybody closes his eyes because they know that they never pay workers enough. So whatever ways and means you can use, they close their eyes. But you see, me personally, everybody in his values. And the person I said, refuses tips. His wife told me that he went to the market with him and she was over bargaining. And then the husband, hey, stop. Can't you see that this woman needs money? Why are you over bargaining? You are denying her of... I mean, that is that person's character. And, I can tell you, he is a sort of person who his contemporaries built big houses. He started building some 30 years ago. He hasn't finished, but he has retired. Yes, he has been able to take his children through school. That's what he can boast of. But he retired a satisfied man. It is not just for possessions that we are in this world. We are here to render service. And he is a more satisfied human being than his colleagues who have built 5 houses and that. I can tell you for a fact.
For one, he's still alive.
Well, it's not just being alive.
The reason why I say that is because there are some people having the same company as him who are more successful. They go on retirement 1-2 years later. They are dead.
Yeah.
And someone was asking someone in that company who was a highly open that, why is that this department, when people go on retirement, they keep dying? He said they go and take what is not for them. they go and do things that's not, and then so when they go in retirement 1-2 years they are all dying. But if you do what you're supposed to do and you don't go and insert your own certain things, you'll be okay.
What about the issue of promotions? I hear it being said that yes, be good at your job, but also play the politics so that you can get promoted. So for someone who, fine, they've heard what we have said about how to enter, they've applied that, and they seem to be stuck. I've been here 3 years, 5 years, and people who came in 2 years ago are being promoted, and I'm still at the same level. But in terms of getting the work done, I do it better than anybody else. But they are still stuck.
Someone will say that getting a promotion, playing the politics is part of being good at your job. So it's really, someone will say that that's part of the thing. So,
So in public sector, is the politic game the same as in the private sector? And if not, how do you play it and play it well?
So in the private sector, it's just getting noticed by the decision makers. You sometimes you show your competence in the open, and that is enough for you to come to the attention of. Because sometimes it is your supervisor who even suppresses you. That's the truth of the matter. In the public sector, sometimes the rules are there. There's a scheme of service. You have to be in this position for 5 years before you attend a promotion interview. If you want to accept that, then stay in your lane. You see, do your best and pray.
Okay.
Because if you have not chopped 5 years in this particular
There's
position,
no
don't
way.
expect to be promoted. You see, because on paper, they may have it on paper that, you know, they are high flyers, and those ones may skip the 5 year, you know, time limit.
But those
But
are
they,
outliers.
they hardly work. They hardly work. So when you realize that you are too good for that organization, start looking for a way out. It's important before you commit a sin.
Okay. When it comes to job security, you mentioned that private sector is more risky compared to public sector. Would you say that security can be relative? Because, I mean, even for public sector, I'm sure there are rules where if you break, they don't care about the unions, you are out the door. And sometimes I think it can be a trade-off. With all that we have said, you have security on one end but a low salary, and you have a very high paying job with high risk. Isn't it high risk, high reward?
Like you have said, and people generally think, they say, oh, if you're working public sector, there's job security, you can't get fired, so stay here, even if the pay is not the best or anything.
And you go on pension.
Yeah, go on pension stuff. And I think about it and I'm like,
The fact that there are interest-free loans, and a lot of banks like to give loans to public sector
yeah,
people.
basically the point is that there are a lot of things
Perks.
that are there that they feel are not in other places. Not even perks, just stability. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But for me, like you said, security is relative. And what I take by that is security is not just about what you are getting on a monthly basis, but it's about the future. Because someone says the riskiest thing is to take no risk at all.
Yeah.
And to me, if you are staying in the public sector, not because of some goal you have, but because of the fear of doing other things, that is the most risky thing of all. Because here's what happens. People don't talk about this. You stagnate. And to me, stagnation is very risky. Because you stagnate in terms of salary, you stagnate in terms of everything. You don't even improve your network, look for other opportunities. And before you realize, you become that person who has been in the system for a long time, frustrated, not going anywhere. And everything is just around this company. And you are still not moving anywhere. You can't go up. You can't go out. Because outside, you can't see opportunities anymore outside. And up to, nobody's noticing.
You are
So
too
stuck.
old even to pivot to another job.
Let's even assume they are taking their space where the person is not even old. But it's
Yeah.
like they've just gone to a stage where they are blind to anything outside. But they are unhappy and they are stuck. And eventually, that salary you're earning would be much lower than your living expenses. And so even though you've not been sacked or anything, now the money is not enough. And you are pressured into finding out ways to make money. And then what do? Do you start doing kululu? You are pressured into doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
That brings its own kind of risk. So you thinking, oh, I can be here, I can be okay and not. I think it's also a risk that people
Yeah.
by not realizing that if where I'm working is making me less than who I'm supposed to be in terms of my skills, my network, who I'm supposed to be, you are indirectly like you see abonfian yourself.
Yeah.
And you are rather hurting your future self. Go to a place where yes, you may be insecure now, but you have a better chance of meeting your future potential than not. Again, that's my personal perspective. Other people may have a different opinion, but I just believe the idea of just because you can't get fired. What I'm saying is that just because you can't get fired doesn't mean that you are not hurting yourself.
That's very true.
Yeah, so that's just my.
Yeah. It's a very good point.
So, in terms of midlife crisis, within the Ghanaian context, would you say that based on what you said, it's more likely to happen for somebody who decided to
Just hang
start and stay in the
Yeah.
the public sector route versus a person who used or entered the private sector route or branched out into the private sector
So you see, your generation is not as risk adverse as our generation. People of my age and older knew that you finish school, you got a job, you stay on until you go on pension.
Yeah.
There wasn't a case where you worked for 4 years or 3 years and then you are looking out and trying to find opportunities. I mean, if you have that mindset, because, where can I? There was a mate of mine. He used to come to my office. He was working, in the public sector. And he was living in Tema and working in Accra. And almost every Friday, he would come to me for some money. He was my classmate in secondary school. And I was like, he was an accountant. Why don't you switch jobs? He said, where can I get the job? But the point was that, the guy had low self-esteem. Even coming to me, walking through the door, he was always like, I would strike him if I met him. So you must have confidence. If you have the skill set, go out there and sell yourself. Rather than sit in one job because you are afraid of being fired. You won't go into a private, company where the challenge is more and you have the chance of making more money.
I guess what I'll add to it is whether you find yourself in the public sector or private sector, don't think that after university that's the end of learning. Always be learning.
Yeah.
So that you can stay relevant regardless of the sector, regardless of the industry. Because how many years ago did ChatGPT come? Now we have all sorts of AI tools in the system. If you are not upgrading your skill set, you would stay stuck and you eventually die broke without leaving anything for your children's children.
Can I add that? And we're not just talking about having a master's degree, having a PhD, because that's what people think. It's beyond that. It's about getting skills like data analytics, AI.
Skills that are going to make you relevant and offer value to whoever you meet.
Yeah, and you don't need to go leave your job and go to school. There are people who are learning these things while they are working. Weekends, in the night, and that kind of thing, and you can improve yourself.
Okay, so when it comes to culture, a friend of mine and I, at a certain stage in our lives, were saying this whole idea, which is something that you have
organizational culture you are talking
organizational culture. This whole concept or idea of going the extra mile. We've gotten to the stage where it is not profitable, it is not working. We are only going to go the extra mile when it comes to ourselves because it is not paying. So we are changing strategy. What would you say culture has to do with that? For especially the young folks who are coming up, where they've seen maybe their parents or older folks go the extra mile, it didn't pay off. So they have decided, we are not doing that here. What do you have to say?
It's a very difficult issue to discuss because I have believed in this thing and I've taught it in my consulting.
A lot of employers also believe in it, but they don't. They are not.
But some employers, they defy that natural rule that when you have somebody who is going the extra mile with you, it should pay off. You see, if somebody said that, if we say that cast your bread upon the waters and it will come to you one day, but if that bread is going to come to you soggy and fermented, you won't want to get that kind of bread back.
Yeah.
So, we say that we work to learn. In going the extra mile, you are learning so much more about the sort of work that you are doing. Now, if the person you are working for is not appreciative of what you are doing, then like we said earlier, look elsewhere. There may be somebody else who may be interested. I'm not advocating divorce, but there are people who stay in abusive marriages, they are beating and that. Meanwhile, they are very good people. Somebody else is looking for such a person to marry and he's not getting. So, divorce yourself from that company if you think that you are a more valuable employee than your employer is treating you. Look elsewhere. And the skills that you have acquired through the extra mile that you have gone all along will come in handy.
Okay. Yeah, I think the last part especially I agree, which is go the extra mile for yourself in a sense that like you are joining a company to boost your skills and to learn more.
Yeah.
So even if the company is not necessarily pushing you to be your best, if you're able to do your best within that company and push yourself, then find an opportunity to do even better elsewhere. And when it comes to public versus private sector thing too, I'll say that there's a conception that private sector pushes people to do better, public sector doesn't. I would say it's a department by department basis. It's not. There are certain companies where it's public sector, but department pushes their people more than private sector elsewhere.
It's a leadership.
Yeah, it depends on the company.
Yeah.
And
even particular departments.
Sure. And there are also private companies too who are to surprise that they have a lot of lazy people there hiding and you will be surprised. But I would add to it that when you improve your skill set and you are leaving, the reason why a lot of young people these days have this idea of going the extra mile may not pay off is that it's partly the internet. And that's the truth. The internet has given us a lot of things. People can learn things on YouTube. You can learn how to do graphic design, camera work, and social media. But also, it has also increased the expectations. You said in your time, people were not leaving companies like that because also of the internet.
Yeah.
The internet was not there. So people couldn't be like, we had Aisha speak come to Ghana not too long ago. The reason I'm bringing him up is that he's 21 or I don't know how old he is.
He's a
young.
21-year-old.
Yeah. Someone will be like, my boss is saying I should be in this company for 20 years and Aisha Street is 21 and he's making more money than grown men. Grown men are begging him for money. Why should I follow my boss' advice when you're on the internet where someone can sit down for 5 years and make out of money? So it makes young people also want to rush for money. I wouldn't say it's good or it's bad. I would say that it's good to be exposed, but also you have to understand where you are coming from and understand that you are not Aisha Speed. Everybody has their own ways to run. And your boss' advice, just because it's taking long, doesn't mean it's foolish. At the same time, too, there are certain bosses who use that it's not your time as an excuse to just suppress people when they know they can do better.
Yeah.
So it's good to know what's happening out there and to copy those examples. If I should speak motivates you to do more and seek more advantages when you would have been suppressed, that's good. But at the same time, too, don't be overly zealous and run ahead and then not invest properly in getting your skill set before you get those opportunities. So knowing which one you are, it comes with experience and time. But that's what I would say to add to.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And when it comes to culture, would you say that public sector culture is very old school? Private sector culture is vibey, it's vibrant, it's more in tune with modern times and the young people.
I'll just answer one way, then I'll pass it to leadership. There are certain companies that are private and they are old school because of the one in charge. There are certain companies that are public and it's vibey because of the one in charge.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
So
It's about leadership.
Okay, so speaking on leadership, management decision making in both sectors, how should that influence someone to stay or to leave or to even enter?
That one is an easy thing.
Okay.
In public organizations, management decision, some managers are powerless because decisions are taken from the seat of government. So he may be a managing director, but he's a powerless managing director. In the private sector, they can take decisions. They can take decisions about promotions and wage increases and all these things based on the output.
Yeah.
But in the public sector, there may be nothing. And if the organization is just for service delivery, there's nothing. The metrics for measuring their performance is not even unclear. And therefore, the culture for people, the people are not able to push themselves to do better because there isn't much that they can be measured, their performance can be measured by. So that's about, that the culture between private and public decision making, leadership decision making, and all that.
So with all that we have said, what's your take on values in all of this? Private sector, public sector?
As for values, they are internal. And I was talking about somebody who was working in the public sector who was so good, he wasn't even prepared to take envelopes from people and all that. It happened that his wife had a difficult delivery, their last born. And so she was hospitalized at Korle Bu for a number of months. and he went on a visit. And later on, when he met me, he said if he had not come to experience what was happening in Korle Bu with regard to the newborn baby, he wouldn't have known that doctors at Korle Bu were so dedicated. He was emotional when he was talking about it. He said, a doctor will work 18 hours non-stop. He went back and he was caught and he ran back. That was somebody. He wasn't the same person, the sort of person who left and went and sold spare parts. They love the job that they are doing because they love to serve. It's inward. I mean, another person told me about the doctor at Korle Bu who carried the patient to the 6th floor and operated upon that person. But looking back in 1983, a friend of mine who was a nurse at Korle Bu said, a doctor, it was a time when it was a difficult time in our history, and the doctors were taking money from patients before operating upon them. I mean, under the table. So this doctor charged a patient at that time 10 million. And the person said, I don't have all of it. I can pay 9, I can pay 5. When you finish, I'll pay the rest. So this friend, my friend's sister was with them. He said the patient died in the course of operation. The doctor was angry. Foolish man, you've gone with my money. You see the difference between such a doctor and other doctors who we are talking about now. It's not a profession, it's about you. So if you have that value system, it will show wherever you work. It doesn't matter whether it's in medicine or it's in sales or whatever it is. You live out your values.
For Gen Zs and millennials, what have you got to say?
I don't think I have anything to add to that too.
Well, I'll say that for everybody, values becomes your strong why for keeping it going. It becomes your why for deciding whether you want to pursue private sector jobs or public sector jobs. It becomes your why for deciding to pivot or stay when you are stuck. And so with everything that we have said, find your why and put everything in context. And I'm sure you'll find yourself making a good decision with regards to whether to work in the public sector or the private sector. And, well, wherever you are, please share this video. You never know who you may be blessing with what we have shared here. And don't forget to comment, like, follow, and subscribe.
And share.
Yes, and share again. So until we catch you next time, it's bye from World of Work.